friends, how are you doing today? I hope you're having a pretty dang good day. Today I'm going to be talking about all the books that I ended up reading in the month of October. The total books that I read was 3, not as many as I wanted to get to, but at least it's better than nothing, and I read a couple books. Did you find any new favorite books for October? Let me know down below, and let's talk books. So, the very first book that I ended up finishing in October was Dear Mighty Things by Heather Kaczynski, and I really enjoyed this book. I gave it either 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was super close to 5. I had a fun time reading this book and enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I was going to. I knew I was going to like it, but I didn't know how much I was going to like it until I finished reading it. It is a really fun space competition book where it takes kids from the ages of 18 to 25, and you have to be in that age range to compete to be the one person picked to go on this super secret space mission. I was not ready for this book. That's one of the main things I like, especially in sci-fi or fantasy books, is when people are competing in a competition setting. I don't know what it is about it, but I just really like reading about competition type settings. And this one had a fun twist on it, being everyone in this competition was really smart and fit, most of them, and wanted to go into space. Every person in here has a very high interest in being an astronaut and traveling to space and just all of that good science stuff. I liked the competition in it. I loved the characters. I liked everything about it and how they went about the competition. And there's twists and turns that you won't see coming. I feel like a lot of people won't see the end coming. I sure didn't. And there is a second book to this, so when it leaves off on a cliffhanger, there is a second book, which is pretty interesting. And I just really enjoyed this. It wasn't too much about space, so if you're not like into knowing, it's more so about the competition of these set of kids from 18 to 25 wanting to be the one astronaut that's going into space for this really secret mission. It's one thing that like you are getting the opportunity to be on a spaceship and travel to space, but it's another thing that you're a part of this super secret mission that only the person that is picked will know exactly what the mission is. And that makes it fun too, because we don't know. Also, we're finding out what the super secret mission is along with the contestants. So I feel like that aspect of it too, that it's keeping us guessing along with the characters in the book. But yeah, there's so many positive things that I thought while reading Dear Mighty Things, and it has such an awesome cast of characters. I don't have anything bad to say about this book, and I will definitely be continuing on to see what happens in the next one. But yeah, if any of that interests you, I highly recommend picking this up if you like space competition books. And then the final 2 books that I ended up reading for the month were me participating in Spookathon. Now, I had around 4 or 5 books for my Spookathon TBR, and I only ended up getting around to 2 of them, which kind of was disappointing because I really wanted to read all the books that I had on my TBR and vlog it, but that never really happened. I only vlogged like 2 days of Spookathon, but there's always next year. And the 2 books that I ended up finishing for Spookathon in October, the first one was an audiobook, and that was The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I don't know where I'm going to put the picture. I don't actually have the physical book because I listened to it on audio, but that book, when I first listened to it, the narrator herself was unbelievable. One of my favorite, I think, audiobooks listening to. It's like in the top 5. It's up there with the Fire on High, because I love that one. The author narrated it herself, Elizabeth Acevedo. Probably one of my absolute favorite audiobooks to listen to. And this one is a very, very close second, I think, to that. I loved the narrator of The Turn of the Key, and the way that she told the story was so, like, made me so immerseful into it. And I listened to it like in one sitting. It was just so good to me. I don't know if I would feel the same way reading it as I did listening to it. I definitely want to pick up the physical copy and read it to see if my feelings are the same or not. Listening to it was such a good experience to me, and the way that she narrated it during some of the scenes, especially during like the creepy scenes, it was just so good. And Okay, so The Turn of the Key on Scribd is narrated by Imogen Church, and first time listening to Imogen Church, and I absolutely loved the way that she narrated The Turn of the Key. 5 out of 5 stars in my book was how she narrated it. I loved it. Like I said, I just absolutely loved it. And the book itself, I gave 5 out of 5 stars, although not gonna lie, looking back like a week or two later after finishing the book, I don't think if it wasn't for me listening to the narrator, if I would given the book 5 out of 5 stars. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the book. I think it was super interesting. I think if I was actually reading the book, maybe I would given it 4 out of 5 stars. I don't know if I would be as interested in if I wasn't listening to it on audiobook. So I think I'm gonna give The Turn of the Key overall either 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars, probably a 4. Overall, still really loved it. The audiobook itself, I'm gonna give 5 out of 5 stars listening to it, because Imogen does such an amazing job that keeps you entertained and wanting to listen to know what's gonna happen next. Like I said, I fell in love with listening to it. So the main character, Rowan, stumbles across this ad to be a live-in nanny. And that's why I said the storyline itself, reading about a nanny wasn't really interesting to me, because I don't really tend to pick up books that are about nannies or kids in general. Nanny stories, I guess you could say. But also, on the other hand, the way the story was told made me really interested about it. She stumbles across the ad to be a live-in nanny, and it has an outrageously good salary. So one could not say no to the salary that was given. It's also in this like luxurious smart home that's in the Scottish Highlands. That's another thing I really loved about this book, that it took place in Scotland. So like I said, I don't really tend to pick up books about nannies and children and stuff, but what did sell me on this book was the fact that there ends up being a child found dead, and the nanny herself is awaiting trial for this murder that she didn't commit. And basically the story is told in her writing letters to someone that she wants to represent her, and explaining everything from start to finish, her story of why she's in jail, but she's not the one that murdered this child. And I really liked that it was told from like a letter perspective of her writing to someone, asking them to represent her while she's in jail currently. And I thought that was a pretty cool concept to have in the book. And the character herself is flawed, and she's really someone that isn't picture perfect, but she's someone that you can easily relate to. Throughout the book, she says that she's not innocent, but she is not a murderer. And she'll admit to her flaws and her mistakes and tell the world that, like, yeah, she lies and she's not innocent, but she's not someone that would commit murder, especially murdering a child. So the house that she ends up nannying at ends up being this really like old house, but the family that lives in it now made it like a smart house-esque type feel. So everything is digital and needs, like, you can kind of like an Alexa thing, being like, hey Alexa, turn the lights on type of house. It's a smart house and everything's high-tech. There's so many cameras in it, and like in every single room, which as a nanny would be uncomfortable thinking that you have a camera either in your bedroom or your bathroom. It's just kind of weird. So that kind of throws her off in the beginning of, hey, it's cool, but on the other hand, it's not, because like, are there cameras literally everywhere? You don't know, and then you become kind of paranoid. On top of the smart house having all of these technology advances, it's rumored to be haunted too as well, and that's why Rowan thinks the past like 5 nannies before her left was because they were afraid of this haunted smart house, basically. So we go through 2 of the storylines of Rowan nannying this family, also telling her experience to the lawyer that she wants to represent her of why she's innocent, but also on the other hand trying to figure out what the heck is up with this smart haunted house type of thing. And I think it was very interesting and intriguing, and it really wraps you in the story, and there is so much to be figured out. Usually with like thrillers or mysteries, I try to kind of guess what's gonna happen or who did what or anything along those lines. With this, when I was listening to the audiobook, I was just so fully immersed into it that I didn't care to know anything. I just wanted to listen to the story, hear Rowan's side of it, her explaining why she's innocent, and I just had a good time with it. So I highly recommend it on audiobook. I can't say for the physical book itself because I didn't read it, but the audiobook on Scribd, I just absolutely loved the book itself and listening to the narrator. So that's the one I would recommend. And then the last and final book that I read for October was The Chestnut Man by Soren Svierstrup, and this one is really sad to me because I was very highly anticipating this book ever since I found out about it, and it was one that I thought I was absolutely gonna love, and it would be one of my new top 5 favorites or something like that. And it took me kind of a while to get through this book. Let me see how much total. So the book is 516 pages short. To be honest, like, I don't mind big books, but I feel like a lot of the chapters in this book didn't have to be in there, at least in my opinion. I don't know if others feel differently. I feel like it could have been like a 300-page book and it would have been a lot better in my opinion. I feel like a lot of the scenes in this I found very boring or irrelevant to the story itself. So I really wanted to love this book, and when you look at the reviews on it as well, they're like a lot of 5 out of 5 star reviews, and then I'm like, what's wrong with me and my reading taste that I didn't love this book because it was one that I thought I was going to. I gave it probably like 2 out of 5 stars. I think I would give it 2.75, like almost 3 stars, because I did enjoy the last half a lot more than I thought I would. So like the last little bit of it I really enjoyed, and I liked a lot of things about this book, but I also disliked, I think, more than I liked, so that's why it's kind of got a lower rating. And I'm so sad because I feel like I understand why this can be for a lot of people, but it just wasn't for me and my particular taste. I feel like if it just followed solely the 2 detectives trying to find out who the Chestnut Man is, and then on the flip side, the Chestnut Man's point of view, I think I would have liked it a lot better. I feel like there was a lot of characters in their thoughts and feelings in it that didn't have to be in it. Like some random people that had sections in the book, and I'm just thinking why exactly. But there is probably people that really love those portions of the book, so it just all depends on your personal taste. I did finish it, so there's something about that I liked it enough to go through every single page of this book. I actually think that this would make a really cool movie. It kind of felt more as it was written kind of as a movie-esque or like a series. I don't know what I'm trying to say about this book. I'm very confused. I don't know exactly what to say about this. If you haven't heard about The Chestnut Man, it's basically about a psychopath terrorizing Copenhagen. I just realized 2 of the books that I read for the month of October didn't take place in America, which is kind of cool. One was Scotland, this one is Copenhagen. So the man terrorizing Copenhagen is called the Chestnut Man, and basically the reason why he's called that is because at each bloody crime scene he leaves basically what is called a calling card. He leaves little chestnut men at like somewhere around the body, so it makes it known that it's him that's doing it. And basically one of the main things in the book is there's fingerprints from a little girl that went missing a year ago on each and every Chestnut Man. So she was presumed dead, and they're questioning why these little girls' fingerprints are on the Chestnut Man that's at every crime scene. So is it a coincidence, or is it something that is a lot more? And the girl that went missing a year ago is the daughter of the government's minister. So it's kind of like a high priority thing that her daughter went missing, and it's in the news and it's very public. Her daughter was kidnapped and murdered, and basically the case was closed. Now a year later, and all of these murders are happening, and her daughter's fingerprints are on these Chestnut Man. It brings up everything that happened a year ago, and she starts to question whether her daughter is alive or dead, and all of these other things. So basically the 2 detectives in this book are finding out, 1, who the Chestnut Man is, and 2, whether it's a coincidence or not that the minister's daughter's fingerprints are coming up in forensics on all of these Chestnut Men, and what the deal is. So I'm not gonna lie, there is a lot that happens in this book. So many things happen. I can't even talk about it without giving anything away. I did like the reveal of the Chestnut Man. who it ended up being, why this person became the Chestnut Man, and the storyline of how everyone intertwines and fate and all of this other stuff. I liked all of that. A lot of that happens in the last half of the book. I don't know, this book was a lot. I have a lot of feelings towards it, mixed feelings. I don't know. I still don't know how to feel about this book. Like I said, it probably for a lot of people, for me, it just wasn't something I could enjoy 100% and recommend. I mean, if you think it sounds interesting and you want to try it out for yourself, go ahead. But I'm very confused on it. So for now, it's like a 2.75, maybe a 3. But that is it for all the books that I ended up reading in October. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you found any new favorite reads during that month and what books you plan on reading for November. Again, thank you so very much for watching. I hope that you all have a magical, wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!